Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Now, I say 2 of your 5 a day. I am spotting with my eagle eye, or maybe my blue light glasses, that Carbs is eating something, and it looks like some sort of dessert or a yogurt. So before I ask him how he is, I want to ask how the fuck that dessert is.
Well, for a start off, it's neither of those. It's actually Moroccan hummus.
It's Moroccan hummus.
Yeah.
Hey, up here we go. Labels here. Moroccan style hummus.
From
nice.
Morrison's. Don't get me wrong, nutrition value isn't great. There's a fair bit of salt and fat in there, but essentially, chickpeas, not that bad for you. And there's like, what's it called? Apricots and raisins in there as well. It's all right. It's all right it's a good snack. I think it's meant for like as a bit of a dip, like with nachos or something, but I can just eat it from the spoon. It's pretty tasty. And I was once on a night out, right? And this was in Chorley. And we went upstairs in this bar and there was this table and there was just a bunch of food there. And we were like, is this for everybody? I mean, this is a public bar. There's no party on. Is this for everyone? And they were like, yeah. Everyone just stuck right in. And there was some hummus in there. And this guy who's a bit of a foodie was out with us. He was there saying, "Oh, get your cracker and put some of that cheese on it and put some of that hummus in it. Like, the flavors go really well together." So I did what he said, and it was a good suggestion. It tasted good. Probably not an idea I would have made before trying it, but I'm glad I tasted it because the flavors that he picked out, they didn't complement each other on paper, but they did in terms of like the like kind of evening each other out. So it was pretty good. And I said to him, well, my favourite hummus is Moroccan style. And he was like, oh, no. Hummus isn't supposed to be sweet. And I was like, I mean, whether hummus is or isn't supposed to be sweet, that's the hummus I like the most because there's no rules with food, really. Like, you eat what you like. And, like, yeah, okay, like, it's not traditional hummus. It's Moroccan style. It's sweet with the raisins and the apricots in it. But my opinion is, if you like it, eat it. You shouldn't be going into a shop and saying, like, can't be buying that hummus. Hummus isn't supposed to be sweet. It's got raisins in it. Can't be buying that. It's against the law. You shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. So, yeah, that's my opinion on that. But yeah, thanks for asking how I am and that. It's been, weather's been banging on it lately. I mean, I've said that a few times, but it has actually been great with the heat wave and everything. Early work finished today. Finished at 2:00. Got myself a Starbucks afterwards. I know you're a bit of a Starbucks fan. I know I've been through a few drive-thrus with you. I treated you to a few Starbucks coffees in the past for giving me lifts here and there. So I know you're a fan of it. One thing I will touch on as well, cast your mind back to an episode where we spoke about gaming and in particularly the section where you spoke about indie games. Now you mentioned a game called Rocket League. And you also mentioned on there that they use Monster Cat. And, there's something that did to me when you mentioned Monster Cat. It just got me a bit nostalgic. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I used to listen to loads of Monster Cat, like all the electro and the glitch hop and everything like that. With it being nice out and reminding me of what it was like when I listened to it at the time. And we were talking like summertime, it was nice days. I used to listen to this music. And I've started to listen to a few more songs again. And I'm not really one that puts music on. I tend to just like listen to the radio, and if my radio's like lagging a bit behind, I'll like skip through some songs I don't want to hear because I want to get to the bit where like Greg James is talking about like all these nonsense. So really, I kind of listen to the radio mostly for the presenters. And the one that I loved hearing again was one called Isolated by Favorite. And I don't know what songs are on Rocket League, but if they have Monster Cat, I really do hope that's on there because it's a quality song, a quality electro song. Do you have any like suggestions at all for what songs might be on Rocket League? Because I may well like them.
You're asking a question now. You're asking a question that only Google might be able to answer.
The thing is, you might only know them by sound and not by title. If you're just like playing the game and then like just you're not concentrating too much on the music, but it kind of like fits the vibe of the game.
I'm looking.
Ampersand as well. I can't remember the name of the artist, but it was definitely called Ampersand, the one I listened to. There was like electro house sort of feel to it.
There's a few. I'm looking at Monster Cat Volume 1 that came out in 2016. They are on Rocket League, but obviously over time they have added more tracks. And obviously at Rocket League, the tunes are on in the menu. And the tunes, you can pick a tune when you score a goal and then it plays and then everyone has to listen to it. So you find people like picking songs to troll and stuff like that. So I think I have this like weird nursery rhyme type thing that came out just to annoy people when I score a goal. But no, I couldn't name you any, but I'm happy to try and take that away as a little bit of homework.
Mm-hmm.
and I'll let you know. I'll have to download Rocket League again because I haven't played for ages, and then I'll let you know some tracks. But you were talking about hummus. Now, hummus is interesting because I like hummus. You were talking about flavour combinations. You were talking about not being against the law. Like it might be the law as far as people like Lloyd Grossman or Gilly Goulden or Delia are concerned.
Where are you? Let's be
Where
having
are
you.
Well,
And you mentioned Lloyd Grossman as well. Who lives in a house like this?
who lives in a house like this? Someone who likes Moroccan style hummus, that's for sure. See, I agree with your friend, right? I'm gonna put it out there, right?
No, you entitled to opinion. I want to hear it.
What is fruit and nuts doing in hummus? Fruit and nut, get it in a dairy milk. Come on, behave yourself. Get it together. What the fuck is this? Hummus is chickpeas, tahini paste, garlic, water, paprika, oil. Get it all blended up. Just normal hummus. None of this red pepper shite. None of this garlic and onion. I mean, at a push, I'll eat those. But classic hummus is where it's at. But you were talking about the flavour combinations. I hope we've got the list of ingredients. Go on, let me know.
I can read it out if you want.
Go for it.
Ingredients: cooked chickpeas, water,
What
rapeseed
percentage?
oil.
How many chickpeas?
I'm not going for the percentages of all these, but if you want to know chickpeas, it's 49%.
No, that's not bad.
Cooked chickpeas, 49%. Water, rapeseed oil, sesame seed paste, caramelized onion, concentrated lemon juice, dried apricots, sultanas, coriander, garlic puree, salt, spices, red bell pepper, chili pepper, cumin, preservatives, acid, antioxidant. The acid is acetic acid and the antioxidant is citric acid.
Right, okay. So there's no nuts, so I'll take back my nuts comment.
Well, I'm glad because I don't like nuts, so I'm happy with
But
that.
there is a bit of fruit in there, and for me, come on, like fruit, let's just have some jam. But I get it, like that's the Moroccan style, and that reminded me of episode 8 because there were a lot of Tunisia going on, so it's got like North African
The
vibe.
Maghreb, it's called. The North of Africa, the Maghreb.
Maghreb, yes. Morocco, Algeria,
Libya,
and
Egypt.
Egypt, yeah.
Possibly Mauritania, but that you're bordering onto like more kind of like the part of Africa. Like Mauritania is like the country that kind of like connects the Maghreb to the rest of the Africa, like like your Nigerias and your Senegal.
Ghana.
It's kind of like
the Gold Coast, as they call it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the country that kind of like connects. It's like the one that connects the two. So I believe. Apologies if I'm wrong with that. I don't want to offend anybody. But
yeah, same here. I don't know if it's the Gold Coast, but I just know that it is the west coast of North Africa, where a lot of my footballers have come from on Football Manager and Championship Manager seasons. But yeah, that was a nice tie back to the Tunisia episode. And you enjoy your hummus, however you like it. You were talking about the cheese, cracker and hummus combination. Much prefer the t-shirt and ties combination. You know what I mean? A bit of
can't keep your eyes off it.
Bit of Brian Storm. So what to kiss, so what to kick you. But it reminded me of a time when I had me and my partner were in the Lake District, and we went for a brunch, as you do. Oh yes, in the Lake Districts. Oh yes, let's have a brunch. Like, what the fuck is brunch? It sounds like something like Frodo Baggins eats. But yeah, brunch it was, and we got a camembert with some fancy bread and some grapes. And my partner were like, cheese and grapes? Have you never had cheese and grapes? I was like, not for me. I said, I've never tried it. Honestly, it was like a ratatouille moment. I'd discovered a flavour combination I'd never experienced before. To be fair, I haven't had cheese and grapes since, but it was quite a fancy establishment, and the quality of it was that good that I just don't think I'd be able to emulate it. Whilst we're on the topic of food, we talked about a lot of food in the last episode, and there were a couple of finished things that I didn't know the name of.
You're not finished yet, are you?
No, I'm Russian. But I've done my homework, and I've got the names. So can you remember any of the dishes that I mentioned, the Finnish ones?
Can I bollocks?
I can't remember.
No, I didn't write them down.
It's not even been 24 hours. Can you not remember? Because one of them had like a peculiar set of ingredients in it.
Was this the one with like the 3 livers in it?
There we go.
Well, I don't remember the name. I don't remember the name of it.
No,
yeah.
I didn't give you the name. But I was just hoping that you'd remember it had the liver in.
Okay, yeah.
So this is called Maxa Latico. So we had macaroni latico, which meant macaroni box. But this is called Maxa Latico. And it's funny because when I was speaking to my partner, I was like, what are the name of them dishes? Can you tell me? And then she said Maxa Latico. Now, to me, Maxa, it has 1 A at the end. But Maxa, with 2 A's, means to pay. So when she said it to me, I was like, does that mean cost box? Because latico means box. She was like, no. She was like, max is liver. I was like, what? I was like, maxize to cost. She was like, no, in some cases it means to pay. So I was like, right, from now on, maxa latico is the pay box. So the liver box, the liver, the rice and the raisins is the pay box. And then there was another meal that we had, and I'm going to try and read this and not butcher it. Saristalais perta. And this was the buffet that I said there was, like a variety table. So that translates as, so Sari is an island, and then I'm guessing Talaus is a style. So it's Saris Talaus Perta. Perta, I know, because that's table. So it's an island-style table, and that was like a lot of different fishes, potato salad, a lot of picky food, but obviously a very Finnish style of picky food. So I wanted to clear that up, and you said that you've not been up to much. You said you've been to Starbucks. Yeah, we've been to a few Starbucks. I remember that disaster we had one time. We just left Squash, and we could smell a Starbucks about 150 yards, probably somewhere behind us to the left-hand side. Shall we go to Starbucks? Yeah, let's go to Starbucks. How do we get there? The roads would not lead us to Starbucks, and we couldn't find...
A new store, weren't it?
It was a new store, hidden behind a wall. Behind the wall! And we couldn't get there, but we ended up going to a different one. Bit of white mocha, hot milk, please. Is that an allergy or a preference? It's a preference, but you know what I mean. It gets a bit boring, you know what I mean? When you're on like white mocha number 25, number 30, number 40, Gary, you know what I mean? It's like, I just want oat milk. I know it's got dairy in it. I just want oat milk, please. Don't keep asking me the question. I'm not going to die on you. But I get it. They need to cover themselves from a legal standpoint. But yeah, we have had a few Starbucks in our time.
I think that like the reason they do it, it's dependent on how much care they have to take when making it. So if they're making like two drinks at once, say they'll make mine, which like, for example, I'll have like a vanilla latte, won't I, right? So then they're making mine at the same time as yours. Do they need to, the equipment they've used while making mine, do they need to rinse it thoroughly before making yours? Because if it's an allergy, none of the traces from that latte can go into yours. If it's a preference, then they can be more efficient and quicker with it.
Right, okay. Well, yeah, it makes sense. If you're having something like hazelnut milk or almond milk and someone's got a nut allergy, well, that's a big no-no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Food safety level 2 says cross-contaminations, no thank you. And I get that because there are people out there with allergies and stuff, and it is serious stuff, to be honest. But yeah, we do like the odd Starbucks when we're out and about. You were saying that besides that, you've not really been up to much. You got an early finish today. I sort of had an early finish. I have a bit of a commute though, so it's a bit of a trek to get to work and back. Just an 140-mile round trip. But yeah, we're here. Episode 9. We've made it. We had a bit of a backlog because we had the previous episode to edit and get out there that you can all be listening to now, by the way. Just a shameless plug for the Salad and Carbs podcast. Whilst listening to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. That is live, ready for you to listen to. And then, whilst I was putting my notes together, I thought, well, we've both been to work today. Maybe at some point we need to do an episode on work or careers or, the journeys we've been on in the work world. But I might leave that one for the fans. So there is an option. We can actually have a poll on the Spotify. Graham. I'll have 3 yellow cards, please. You can actually do a poll and ask the question. So I guess really, we're only asking Matt, aren't we? Because he's the only one interacting with us at the moment. But if there's anyone out there who is listening on Spotify, even leave us a comment on YouTube. You know what I mean? It'll all get tallied in the data. Should we do an episode on work or careers? We are actually recording the second of 3 episodes on back-to-back days so that we can get to the end of season 1. The season ender, as you already know, we're going to be having some beers, so you can expect some fun. But to be honest, I'm having a little practice. And I am having a cheeky brew dog. Cheeky little brew dog. Carbs has got a cheeky little pure life there. I've had a few cheeky pure lives today. It's been a warm one, like you said. Weather's been cracking. Usually when I go to work, dress code, and you've got to be looking sharp. You know what I mean? You can't be turning up in your trackies. You've got to have the trousers on. Got to have the shoes on.
You look the part.
Got to be looking fresh. You know what I mean? You get a bit warm, but it's stifling.
They can't keep their eyes off the t-shirt and ties combination, can they?
Off the t-shirt and ties combination. Indeed. It can get a bit warm. And, past few times I've been, It's been warm, and I've had the roll neck on, and I love the Steve Jobs look, but it's not the one when it's 23 degrees outside. Never mind when you've got to drive home and car has been sat in car park baking all afternoon. Then you get in car and it's like, no, thank you. So yeah, it was quite nice today. Dressed down Friday. Could even rep the Burnley jacket because it's quite smart. You know what I mean? It's not like I've turned up like Josh Brownhill. It's just subtle. Custore, absolutely. So yeah, it was nice to have a bit of a dress down day. Saying that, I had jeans and the belt on, and you know what I mean. Still want to look the part, don't you? Even on dress down day, might turn up in a onesie one day. You never know. Couple of just the one. I know that my dad's been listening, and he's always telling me that he needs to catch up. So, Dad, when you make it to episode 9, here's your shout out, mate. Which leads me on nicely to, what's this episode going to be about? Can anyone remember? Can I remember? Of course I can. Got it on a list. This episode is going to be about the UK. So in the last episode, we talked a lot about travel. We talked about holidays we've been on growing up. And then as we went through that transition of like, we don't need to go on holidays with our parents anymore. We can, let them go and do their own thing. And then, me and Carbs have done a bit of travel solo as well. So we were talking about that. And I thought, well, seeing as we've talked about everywhere else in the world, why don't we talk about the place where we're from? And let's talk about the UK. Now, I'm going to include the Republic of Ireland as part of the UK. Now, please, I know it's not a part of the UK, but it's not like I'm trying to, shoehorn Russia into the UK. You know what I mean? This isn't some exclusive trade deal we've got going on. It's just a matter of fact that the Republic of Ireland is not that far away. My partner lives there. And to be fair, over the past couple of years, I've spent a bit of time out in Ireland. So I'd like to include that as a part of the UK.
I agree with that, yeah.
So he's eating his hummus now. He might need to burn some carbs. So let's do a quick burn carbs. Favourite UK place? Are you ready? Go.
Favourite UK place probably has to be the county of Cornwall. It's almost like a different country upon itself, and like different culture, buildings. You got your Cornish pasties, which are brilliant. Your beers as well. The Cornish beer tribute by
Cornish pasties. Excellent work. Cornwall. Interesting. You are listening to the Salad and Carbs podcast. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. I had to say that without trying to laugh because I just made Carbs laugh a little bit by saying, go on, give it the big clap. He's laughing.
You brought the dam now, that's it. You brought the dam.
I've brought the dam. You know what I mean? You're invited, audience, to come and join us in the end section of the break. But we're back, and thank you for listening. Episode 9. This is crazy. I'm going to give up with the Star Wars references now. It was funny in the last episode. It was funny in episode 1. But yeah, we're here, episode 9. It actually doesn't feel real at times, but it is real because it's actually happening. So thank you for listening. Thank you for all of the feedback. Thank you for leaving us comments, giving us likes. We haven't had a dislike yet on YouTube. Don't you fucking start giving us dislikes now, though. You know what I mean? I don't want to be opening Pandora's box and we get loads of dislikes. I'll retire.
A dislike is better than a non-reaction, by the way. It's actually dislikes push the algorithm further than not leaving a like or dislike. So I know like some YouTubers these days, they tend to say leave a rating. They don't say leave a like. They say leave a rating, because if someone wants to leave a rating, I didn't like that. They don't care. It's a rating. It pushes it into the algorithm further. So yeah, I'm not telling people to dislike it, but if you really want to fuck us over, just do nothing.
Right, okay. So it's a case of the good, the bad, and indifferent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't be indifferent, you know what I mean? If you like us, let us know. If you don't like us, let us know. And, maybe that algorithm will expand. Maybe you just don't like Moroccan-style hummus. Maybe that's enough reason for you to give us a dislike. Anyway, before the break, we were talking about loads of random stuff, weren't we, really? We were talking about hummus. We were talking about cheese and grapes and ratatouille moments. But I set you the task of a quick burn carbs, and I asked you to tell me about your favourite place in the UK. And the answer that you gave me was Cornwall. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, that's fine. One thing I will say is that during the quick burn carb segment, I don't know what you're going to ask me. I can sometimes get an indication of what you might ask me based off what we spoke about or what we're going to speak about. But in that case, I was not prepared at all for that question. I just had to just say the first thing that came to my head. But essentially, Cornwall is a great place. Like if I'd had more time to think about it, I don't know if I'll come with the same answer, but Cornwall will definitely be up there on my list. Like, it's really good county, and I know you've been recently as well. But the reason I I go fairly regularly, maybe once, twice a year, because I have family down there. So my brother lives down there. He moved down there. I think he's like 38 now, so what was that, 12 years ago? I think he moved down there. But originally he moved to Devon, and then he ended up in Cornwall with the partner that he's with now. He's now married and he's got 2 children, etc. So I do get to go down there and like experience it quite often. Even if I just go, I go to the house, and sometimes if I'm on my own, I'll be staying on the blow-up bed in the living room. And then the little Jack G dog buddy always snuggles up to me, trying to keep warm, because that's just what he's like, waking me up, trying to snuggle in and get warm. If there's more people coming down, I'm more likely to stay in a hotel, because luckily my brother lives really close to a Premier Inn, so that comes in handy as well. I can walk to the house within 2 minutes from the Premier Inn, so it's not a problem at all. So there's that. But even regardless of where I'm staying, for the most part, we mainly just relax and just have like quality time, like quality family time together. And that's kind of what my brother wants. He very much he very much has a lot on his plate. So he's got his job and he's got his family and all that sorts of things. And he's got the stresses of like living in a place where things are much more expensive than what he's used to back home. He does just think, like sometimes like I just want to stay in. We'll get some beers. We'll, buy some pizzas from Aldi, and then we'll stick them in, and we'll play some games, and we'll listen to some music, or we'll watch some programs and that. And he just likes just having a laugh amongst his family, which I'm absolutely fine with. I have done things while like going down there, for the most part, really just like spend time with him and, catch up and get to know his other members of the family, like my 2 nephews and my sister-in-law. But my brother does live near a quite popular place in Cornwall, and it's very much a tourist destination. It's called the Eden Project. So my brother lives within probably about 15-20 minute drive from that, so it's quite accessible to him. And the Eden Project is worth going to. If you're in that area, it's worth going to. You've got this big area where it's all about like the environment and preserving the environment, and there's these two biomes that replicate various, replicate 2 aspects of the world that you can't get in Britain. One of them it is. One of them's a Mediterranean style biome. The other one's like a rainforest style biome. And I went to Eden Project during the winter, so they had a lot of the Christmas themes going on. It was more, winter, centered around winter activities. They had ice skating on, etc. When I went into that rainforest, I did not think it was winter. It was hot and it was sweaty. So yeah, it's an experience unto itself. I believe they're making another Eden Project in Morecambe as well, which would be pretty interesting. That's a bit more closer to us, isn't it? So anyway, tangenting off a bit there. Another thing that I enjoy about going to Cornwall, that particular part of Cornwall, I'll just say the town name. My brother lives in a town called St Austell. There's a brewery in St Austell called St Austell Brewery. Surprise, surprise.
Would you believe it?
Would you believe it? Yeah, I wonder how long they took to come up with the name of that brewery. But yeah, the beer's made there, and regardless of what beer it is you drink, it's more known with beers like Guinness. But all in all, if you buy beer from the place that the beer is brewed, it's usually a bit better, at least a little bit better. It just has that freshness and just like the local sort of like flavors as well. And you feel more immersed when you have it. So I do like drinking me St Austell Tribute IPA when down there. It's pretty good. Going to pubs and bars. And speaking of bars, there's an area just next to St Austell called Charlestown, and they did some filming of a program called Poldark. I've never seen it, but they very much market it. Or come down here, pay to get in here, and you can come to the Poldark merchandise shop. You can walk to the places that that were filmed, and you can act like you're on set and stuff. Be immersive into the program. But even if you don't like Poldark, that part of the bay is really nice. Like, the whole setup is lovely. There's some great bars, restaurants. Kelly's of Cornwall ice cream like, ice cream shops as well, little houses, little huts where they do ice cream. And it's lovely. And in the UK we don't get the weather reliably, but Cornwall, it's worth going even if it isn't quite as sunny. Saying that, it is a lot better when it's sunny as well, and you get like a nice view of the area and you along the coast. And I want that to lead into what you think, because I know you've been to Cornwall fairly recently. Is it like St Michael's Mount? I think you went to visit, which is something that's on my list to do as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got quite a long list here.
Yeah.
Cornwall is not at the top of my list. There's a few things before Cornwall, but I'm guessing, seeing as you've asked me about it, I'll tell you about Cornwall. So me and my partner recently went on holiday. Well, it was last year, but we went on holiday to Cornwall, at Devon and Cornwall, and we made our way down and we stayed in Ilfracombe in Devon on the way down. And if you remember from last episode, spent a lot of early holidays, those ones in caravans, in Westward Ho. So we went and revisited Westward Ho, stayed in Ilfracombe. That was nice. We had a look at I think there's like some underland tunnels. There's some tunnel beaches. That's the one, tunnel beaches. They were interesting. And then we did go down to Bude. And then from there, we did do Land's End. So we went to Land's End. Honestly, what the fuck is going on? Like, I wanted to see the sign because there's a few of these signs knocking about in the UK. There were one at Spurn Head, which I went to with my partner. So Spurn Head's like a 6 mile tail off Hull, and it's like a thin stretch of sand, and it just goes out into the ocean on either side. So much so that when the tide comes in, you're knackered. Like, you need to get off by a certain time, otherwise you'll be stranded there. But at the end of Spurn Head, there's a sign, and it's got all the like New York this way and all that malarkey. So when I got to Land's End, I wanted to see the sign. Anyway, got to Land's End. Got there, there's fucking people queuing up for a picture with the sign. £15 for a fucking picture? Are you mad? And then people are sponsoring the sign for the day. So not only are we pointing towards John O'Groats and France and all the rest of it, we're pointing to Baby M Loves You. It's like, I'm sorry, but Baby M Loves You is not what I needed in my photo of the Land's End sign. Anyway, while people are taking the photos and, like, you know what I mean, with big cameras and that, I've snuck around the back and I've managed to get a picture of the sign. Obviously, I couldn't get rid of the sponsoring of the sign for that day, but it is what it is. It's a tourist attraction. I weren't too enamoured with Land's End, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's one of them that you probably wish you'd have done 20 years ago before all this shit started going down. But it's creating revenue streams, you know what I mean? There's loads of tourists who come to the UK. They want to see loads of different things. Land's End, you can go on a bit of a walk and walk on the cliffs and all that sort of stuff. But there were a few other things that we did. So you mentioned St Michael's Mount. That were cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the weather. Do you know what? When we went to St Michael's Mount, it pissed it down. And I mean, it pissed it down. And it were in between drizzle, consistent drizzle, and rain. So it were grim, but it was still epic. You know what I mean? Like, St Michael's Mount is the castle that's out into the sea kind of thing. So you walk across the low tide.
Depends on the tide, doesn't it? Whether you can drive across there or not, and that.
Oh, you don't drive across. You park the car and then you walk across. So it's like cobbles. Yeah. And there's all these cobbles and you walk across. And then obviously you go up into the castle and it's all very ornate and, swords from Japan and various other wares that the British Empire probably went and pillaged over many years. And it's turned into a bit of a museum. Very, very fascinating, lovely stained glass windows, epic views from the top of the castle. So you can go out and about on top of it. There's certain viewing platforms and stuff. And some bits, you know what I mean? Like these old buildings, they weren't really thinking about health and safety, you know what I mean? Like, if you fucking fell off, you fell off. Tough shit. Some of those stone walls on tops of castles, they're worrying. You lean over, it's like, whoa, I'll tell you what, I don't want to fall down there.
Some of it crumbles off when you lean on it.
No, thank you. But yeah, it was very, very fascinating. Went to a couple of other places. The St Michael's Mount is in a place called Marazion. And in there, they had a Phil's, which is the Cornish pasty chain. So I wanted to get myself a proper Cornish pasty. So we went to Phil's. Honestly, they're as big as your head.
That's where you got me that magnet, weren't it? You got me a magnet?
Yeah, I got you a magnet. Got you a Cornish pasty.
Pasty magnet.
I knew you were a man of the Kernow. See, in Cornish, the language, Cornwall is actually known as Kernow. Kernow. So if you're actually speaking Cornish, that's what it's called. So I knew you were a man of that inclination. So I thought I'd get you the pasty. But my partner actually tried scones for the first time. So obviously she's had scones since she's lived in Ireland and stuff, but to actually get one in Devon with the cream on, and obviously a freshly made scone is like warm and soft. A little trick is you could just pop it in air fryer or in the microwave or in the oven. If you want to like soften your scone up from that you've picked up from shop. But this, she loved it. So she got scone and tea and full English. She didn't manage the full English. She didn't anticipate how big the scone were going to be. Anyway,
it's stodgy, innit?
I ended up with half an English breakfast on top of my own. So I weren't complaining. But Cornwall were lovely. And then on the way back, because I talked in the last episode about I don't chill out on holidays. There's stuff to be doing.
Cram it all, don't you?
Absolutely. So on the way back, we stayed in a place called Congleton, which is in Cheshire. And in Congleton, they have a sushi place. We'd been before on like a day out, and we enjoyed it that much. We wanted to like incorporate it into the holiday. So we went to the Zamuku sushi place. But they've actually got one in Ramsbottom. So they actually have the very same chain in Ramsbottom. Oh my word. Went to watch a ninth tier football game. West Didsbury and Chorlton versus Ramsbottom. Met good old Tom Metcalf. And we ended up going to Zamuku afterwards as like a bit of a, Tom was there with his partner and his child, and then me and my partner were there, so we ended up going to Zamuku because the menu sort of pleased everyone's dietary requirements. So yeah, we went to Zamuku on the way back in Congleton, and then we went to Liverpool as our last stop and went to there's an arcade there called Gravity Max, and in there it's like, your traditional arcade, but they've got indoor go-karting on 2 tiers. So they're electric carts. Honestly, I've got videos. So we paid a bit extra to get the camera attached to your helmet, and then you can get the footage. And I felt a bit sorry for my partner because you sort of meet in an area before you're about to go on the track, and then people start lining up ready for the session. And it turns out there were 10 lads, including me, and then my partner. And I said to her, just take your time. Don't worry, you know what I mean? Just stay on left-hand side, you'll be fine. And you know what? Got to give credit. We were all going hell for leather. But as soon as we approached my partner, we'd all slow down and we all went round her on the right-hand side, and then we just bombed it. As soon as we were past her, that were it. The race were back on.
Yeah.
And it were a good laugh. And you know what? I felt really chuffed that, they'd looked after her, because it must have been a bit daunting for her.
Did she have a good time overall, though? Like, did she enjoy it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We got a medal and stood on podium and all that sort of stuff. And
smiling with the medal and that, and then I can imagine her putting it on her many socials after that as well.
Yeah. Think she's retired from socials. Do you know what? It's been an interesting time, because it sort of inspires me and makes me want to. I don't post as much as I used to. I'm not that interested, but I do. When you're doing things like this to promote these things, you need those socials. But yeah, at the time, I think we were both posting on socials. But I do have a bit of a list here of a few things that I want to talk about. And to be honest, when it comes to travelling in the UK, I hadn't done that much. Apart from holidays and the odd day out, I hadn't really done that much until I met my partner. And that were like 2 years and 10 months. And since then, I've seen a lot of the UK. And like a lot, including Ireland as well. So I've got a couple of things here that I think might be of note. So we did some road trips. When I first met her, we did a road trip. And that was a night in Manchester. Then we did Harrogate for 2 nights. And then we did York. And that was the first time I'd ever met her. Picked her up from Terminal 3, meet and greet. And it's funny because every time we walk past it now, when she's either coming here or going home, we always say, that's where we first met. There it is, C3 car park. Remember pulling up in Yaris? There you were. So we did Harrogate, York, and then that night in Manchester. And like I said, that's when we did Spurn Head. And we weren't together at that point because we'd just met each other. But it were a lovely trip, you know what I mean? Like some absolutely amazing memories. Went to a sushi restaurant in Harrogate on the first night, enjoyed it that much. We went back on the second night. It's like, why bother going somewhere else when we know what we're going to get and we like sushi? And according to her, it was a bit of a deal breaker that I like sushi. So do you know what I mean? We've smashed sushi restaurants since. Blimey. Oh, there's some tales when it comes to sushi restaurants, that's for sure. Then we did a second road trip, and then that was, so we tried to include, again, a lot of things into a short space of time. So we ended up going to, the purpose was we wanted to go and watch King Gizzard, and they were playing in London for 2 nights. So we sort of based...
King Gizzard and the Gizzard or something, was it?
It's a good effort.
Yeah,
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
right. Is it King Gizzard? Like, as in like fucking gizzard that you might get in a turkey or something? Right. Okay. Right.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. So they were playing in London, Ali Pali, and then a place called Troxy. So the trip was based around that, really. But we did see Stonehenge. We saw a place called Woodhenge.
Where
did we
is
see?
Stonehenge? Like, what town or city is it in? I never.
It's near Salisbury.
Salisbury, right? Is that like Salisbury's like London way, isn't it? Am I wrong with that?
Sort of getting down there. It's like near Dorset and Somerset.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like in from Devon and Cornwall.
A bit more inland.
But you've got a lot of counties around there, aren't you? Like Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire, Gloucestershire. You know, they're all
Berkshire.
become thick and fast when you're down there. Yeah, Berkshire. Yeah. Well, we ended up in Berkshire because we went to Reading because my partner couldn't believe that we had a town
going with this.
called Reading. I was like, what? She was like, you've got a town called Reading. I said, yeah, we call it Reading. I said, but it does say Reading. You know what I mean? I can't deny it.
It is one I've heard foreigners struggle with, like, because it is how you spell reading, but it's just how it's pronounced, isn't it? It's just
we just call it Reading.
Yeah.
But I had to take her to the Reading Library because of the irony of a place called Reading and there being a library in a place called Reading, which gets even funnier when you bring it a little bit closer to home because we live near a place called Reed, and Reed has a library as well. So anyway, we went to Reading, we went to Cheddar.
Nice.
So
Cheddar cheese.
We were making, absolutely. So as we were making our way from place to place, we were out in the sticks. I think it were after Stonehenge or around that time. And then she saw a sign and she said, that sign says Cheddar. Is that? I said, yeah. That's the place where cheese comes from. She was like, what? No way. We've got to go. So we had an impromptu visit to Cheddar. That was, really good. I think I had been to Cheddar previously, but why not? You know what I mean? She'd never seen it. Went to
She'd never seen out like it.
Never seen out like it. I'd never seen out like it. Bloody hell. Went to the pub. Thought, we'll get some lunch in Cheddar. Went for some lunch. What are you having? Don't know. I'll have a ploughman's. So it was like an open-faced ploughman's. Honestly, you should have seen the size of the fucking cheese they gave us. Honestly, like, do you want some bread with that cheese? It was like a 300-gram block of fucking cheddar just sat on this bread. I'm like, mate, I'm going to have a migraine if I eat all that. What's going on?
That is an artery clogger right there.
It was unbelievable. It was one of them, right? I ate about a fifth of it, and then the rest of it got wrapped up in a serviette, and it was like, that could be my cheese for the rest of the holiday, that.
It had to be.
So we did Cheddar, and then on the way back, we went to Harry Potter World, which
Watford,
I believe...
Is it? Watford, Hertfordshire?
Yeah. Yeah, so we went to Harry Potter World. No spoilers, don't want to ruin it if you've not been, but it were good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Spent I think it was like 5 or 6 hours just walking around this, like you can see where they filmed some of it, and I am a Harry Potter fan. I've read all the books. I'm not bothered with films because they just don't interest me. As you found out in the films episode, is it on the IMDb list? Never seen it. So
have you got your house though? Have you got your Hogwarts house?
It's one of them, innit? I mean, when you're younger, you just want to be Gryffindor or Slytherin because like they're the most popular ones.
Gryffindor is like the Man United of the lot. I never wanted to be a Gryffindor.
See, when I was younger, you just want to be Harry Potter, don't you? You just want to be like, one of the ones.
I mean, if you're putting yourself in that world, I'd just be happy to be a wizard. Never mind like the best wizard. I'd just be happy to be a wizard, man. Because there's people in that, even in the wizarding world, there's people who just can't use magic and don't know about it.
No, I know what you mean. You're a wizard and not a muggle kind of thing.
I'd be happy with that. It's like, oh, yeah, if I was a wizard and not a muggle, I wouldn't be like, for fuck's sake, I'm not as good as Harry Potter. I'd be grateful that I can do something.
So here are the house definitions. So Gryffindor. So you can tell me which house I'm in, and I'll tell you which house you're in. Gryffindor. No, in fact, do you know what? I'm not going to tell you what the house is because it's going to taint the views, right? So this house values intelligence, learning, wisdom, and wit. This house values hard work, patience, justice, and loyalty. This house values courage, nerve, and chivalry. This house values ambition, cunning, leadership, and resourcefulness. So, out of those 4 things, which one would you say for salad?
I already made my mind up what you were before you read those out, and I think you're more. Now I'm going off the astrology now because I know that the houses are based on the astrology signs. You know how you got like your water, your fire, earth. What was the other one? Water, fire, earth, and wind. Is it air?
Yeah.
Well, I know you're a Virgo, which is an earth sign, which to me just probably translates to Hufflepuff.
Okay, so that's hard work, patience, justice, and loyalty. Yeah? Is that what you're going for?
I mean, I'm just basing it off your astrology sign because I know you relate to your astrology sign quite a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind a bit of astrology. I think as a point of reference, sometimes it can be useful. But we're not doing astrology, we're doing Harry Potter houses.
Yeah.
And the audience are going to be frothing at the mouth, wanting to know which house you're going to place me in. So based on those traits, and I know there were a lot of traits there, and you've probably not remembered them all. But which one do you reckon? So you've got courage, nerve, and chivalry. That's one house. Hard work, patience, justice, and loyalty. That's another house. Intelligence, learning, wisdom, and wit. That's another house. Ambition, cunning, leadership, and resourcefulness.
It's funny because there's so many of those things that you have in multiple ones. There's so much crossover. And that's kind of why I went with it. That's kind of why I went with the Hufflepuff one, because it was just like, just because it's the closest to your astrology sign. That's kind of like, but that's me with the inside knowledge of you already. So
yeah, that's, you know what I mean? We're not after that bias. We just want the Harry Potter raw goods, raw sauce.
Honestly, based off the ones that in the groupings, the one that fits you has the most that fit you, I would say the Ravenclaw one, the ambition, wit, not ambition, sorry, the
wisdom and wit,
intelligence, wisdom, wit. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll be a Ravenclaw. Right, okay, so it's my turn now. Carbs. He's very cunning. Cunning is not a word I would use if I was describing Carbs. See, I would probably place you as a Hufflepuff, to be honest.
Now, so if I was to go off my astrology sign, I'm Aquarius, which means it's an air, which means I would be a Ravenclaw. And I've even done the house sorting myself as well, and I got Ravenclaw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's many ways to skin a cat, as the saying goes. And please don't be going out skinning any cats, please. That's just not the way we do things here at Salad and Carbs. Yeah, absolutely. I like the fact that you brought the astrology into it there, and that might be something that we talk about in the next season, because we've had talks about that in the past, and there's so many different psychological ideas and theories that can be tied in. Because for me, I collect things. I wouldn't, when you mentioned astrology, I can see the sense in that, because there's 4 categories. And obviously this is based on just this one thing that I've found on Google. There might be many different sorting ones. I've done these in the past and I've ended up being Gryffindor. I've done these in the past and ended up being Slytherin. You know what I mean?
It depends how you feel on the day sometimes.
Absolutely. Depends on the clock. You know what I mean?
9 times, I've done it a few times. I'd say 9 times out of 10, I got Ravenclaw. The one time I got something different, it was Slytherin.
Right, okay. See, I wouldn't have you as a Slytherin, to be honest, based on what I can see here.
No.
I would have said you're a Hufflepuff, and I'll be a Ravenclaw. And you know what I mean? Then we're not in the cool houses, but we'll make them cool. You know what I mean? It's no longer Team Salad and Team Carbs. It's Team Ravenclaw and Team Hufflepuff.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'm already Ravenclaw because I already got the Ravenclaw scarf and everything. I've already fully committed to that. So
I'm already committed to Gryffindor. But...
Yeah, I think, like, you know what, right? If we are truly going to go off the Harry Potter universe, there's one thing that you need to know, is that in the story, the Sorting Hat will give you what you want to be, because it's a choice you make for yourself. And that was a point that Dumbledore made. Remember that. So if you think you belong in Gryffindor, it will put you in Gryffindor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only reason I'm in Gryffindor is because I bought the scarf. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what you wanted to be in, though. So that's what you got put in. The same as Harry Potter. So Harry Potter was meant to go in Slytherin, but he was like, not Slytherin, I want to be in Gryffindor. And then the hat listened to him and did it. It's like, right, you've made your own choice. I don't need to make one for you.
Yeah, sort of like it was a guide, and then
it was for people that didn't actually know what they wanted, where Harry Potter knew what he wanted.
Yeah, no, I like that. And obviously he was given them that choice between Gryffindor and Slytherin, and he sort of had an influence in that, because they're probably they'll be opposites, won't they? Gryffindor and Slytherin will be opposites, and Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw will probably be opposites of each other as well. But me, it's just Harry Potter houses, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's a theory. It's a bit of fun, isn't it?
You know what I mean? It's not.
It's a bit of like football club mentality, in it. It's like, oh, I'm team this, I'm team that. You know, essentially, you're all just Harry Potter fans. You know, it's no, they don't need to be in a division.
Absolutely. So yeah, we went to Harry Potter World, and it was good.
Back on topic.
Yeah, absolutely. raging debate about Harry Potter houses there. But my partner loved it. She's a massive Harry Potter fan. When we were in London, we went to the train station and saw platform 9 3/4, had a picture taken, all that sort of stuff. But Harry Potter Land, honestly, it was just so nice to see her just loving it. You know what I mean? She just loved every single thing about it. So that was really, really nice. And her house, by the way, is Slytherin. She is invested in Slytherin.
It's not, it gets classed as like the bad house, the nefarious house, but it's not. It just happened to have some nefarious characters in it. But also, think about it, Peter Pettigrew was a Gryffindor.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's not.
A broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean?
It's 2 minutes a day. A broken clock is right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Harry Potter. Oof, let's move on. Where's my broomstick? Get me Nimbus out.
Let's fly off with that Nimbus 2000.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I think it's time to go for a break. But when we come back, we will continue talking about a few things because I've got a few other things on my list besides Harry Potter. Remind me never to bring Harry Potter up again. This is the Salad and Carbs podcast. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Harry Potter... welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Before the break, it got intense. You know what I mean? We were talking about places in the UK that I've been to. Majority of that I've been to with my partner. Then I dropped the clanger that we went to Harry Potter World, and then we ended up in a world of trouble. You know, we were trying to get Carbs to pick a house, but we didn't have the context that he's already invested in Ravenclaw. You know, he's already bought the merch, he's already bought the gear. He weren't having none of it because based on my little 4 sentences that I have here, I'd have had him as an Hufflepuff, but he's not having it. In the break, honestly, one day we might do these outtakes and you can hear some snippets of us in those breaks. But yeah, we had, you know, Destiny, Dumbledore, going with the lore, all this sort of stuff, fascinating stuff. But we are back, and we're gonna get on the Hogwarts Express, and we're gonna leave that island, and we're gonna return not to Watford, but we are gonna look at just a couple more things that I wanted to mention because there are some funny moments. So I used to get the ferry to Ireland at first. I hadn't got into flying at that point. I thought the ferry was the way to go, and that involved driving down to Holyhead and then getting a ferry to Dublin. And I used to enjoy doing it, to be fair. It was good. But one time, my partner came back with me on the ferry, and as we were driving back up from Holyhead, it was snowing. So you could see Snowdon in the distance, and it was covered in snow, and it looked amazing. And I said, let's just swing by. I think we had there was a family event of mine that we were going to be attending. But I said, we'll sneak a quick visit in on the way up. It's not like we climbed Snowdon or anything like that. We just pulled in and had a look at it. Anyway, a few other people were pulled in at this particular vista point. A family of Indian tourists, it looked like, and they were having a great time. And because it was snowing, I decided to engage in a snowball fight with my partner. Anyway, my partner was stood in such a position that when I threw the snowball at her and she ducked, it hit an Indian person.
Oh no. Chaos ensued.
Luckily, they appreciated the gesture, took it well. I think I got a snowball or 2 back at me, and they were like, quick, come on, get in the car, before that chaos ensued. So that was quite funny. And then the time when we were in London watching King Gizzard, we did a bit of sightseeing in London, but where we were was in a place called Aldgate. Do you know where Aldgate is or what it's famous for?
I've heard of the name, but I can't place it right now. Yeah, you might have to fill me in on that.
It's Jack the Ripper. So there's a lot of Jack the Ripper stuff going on. So we went to a Jack the Ripper museum. But where we ended up going round, and it weren't the best weather either, but we ended up spending a lot of time in the finance district. And you know what I mean? Instead of looking at, you know, some of the bigger parts of London or other attractions, I still hear it to this day that all we did was walk round the financial district in London. Well, it's an important part of the world regardless. And at least you can say you've ticked it off your bucket list. So yeah, we did end up...
It was written on the bucket list and ticked off all in one foul swoop, wasn't it?
It was. Don't think it was that intentional. It just seemed to be the way that Google Maps was taking us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mentioned that I've been to Stonehenge, which leads me nicely into Ireland, because there's another monolithic site in Ireland called Newgrange. And Newgrange is older than Stonehenge, I believe, but it depends. Everyone's trying to be the oldest and the best, aren't they? We built it before you did, and this happened, and blah, blah, blah. But Newgrange was fascinating, just because of the ancient nature of it. And I love, You talked about astrology when we were on the Harry Potter segue, and these monuments, they incorporate like lunar and solar movements in them. And that's what fascinates me, because that was technology back then for me. That's some sort of knowledge that I don't know if we've lost touch with it, but how were they doing it? You know what I mean? If we're led to believe that historically we were hunter gatherers and we were cave people and this, that, and the other, how are they building this stuff? You know what I mean? Tell you what, don't bother with iPad. Just get that piece of slate out and chalk. Oh yeah, I've got the version 2.0. It's fantastic. Oh yeah, it tracks all the lunar and solar movements. It's brilliant, top of the range, fascinating stuff. But in Newgrange, they built it in such a way that on the winter solstice, so the 21st of December, sunlight directly comes into the shaft of the building, and the sunlight creeps into the main chamber. Now, obviously, it wasn't the solstice when we went, so they have like a little mock-up of what it would look like. Just fascinating. Very, very claustrophobic was Newgrange, because it's actually underground. You go into Newgrange, it's a burial chamber, and there's a couple of others nearby, but Newgrange is the big one. So that was really enjoyable. I love that. And we've been on a few other trips as well. So we've been to Inishmore, which is one of the islands off the western coast of Ireland. There's a couple of small islands. So that was interesting. Proper Father Ted tackle. You know what I mean? Dry stone walls. Got on a tandem bike. And then Northern Ireland as well. So this is one that I wanted to mention because it's quite funny. So my partner's car, something had gone wrong with it. And it was to do with the bonnet latch. The car couldn't recognise that the bonnet was closed. So when you closed it, the car was convinced that it was still open. So as you were driving, it would go in beep, beep, beep.
No way.
Beep, beep, beep. We had this on the entire 3-hour journey from where she lives in County Kildare all the way to Northern Ireland, to the top of the coast. It was intense, let's say.
So intense, it was almost a circus.
Honestly, it was almost a festival.
Yeah. Nice.
Where I felt bad because I wanted it to be right for her, because I could see that it was stressing her out. Can't be easy driving on a motorway with a car. Honestly, we ended up going to Halfords. We got like a emergency battery starter kit because there were battery issues as well. We got WD-40 out. We were trying to shut this bonnet. All sorts. Could we get that thing to shut up? No, we could not. And to be fair, it did have a bit of an impact on the mood at times, because you didn't want to get back in car because you knew what was going to happen. You'd have like 43 seconds apiece and then beep. No, it were like auditory Chinese water torture. You know what I mean? Slow dripping, driving you insane. But we went to Northern Ireland because we went to the Giant's Causeway. Another one of those
nice.
Ancient sites. Fascinating to see. Got told off loads of stewards because I was too close to the sea, apparently. Something like that. It's like, yeah, but that's where best pictures are, innit? You know what I mean? I'm not going to fall in, but I want to see waves splashing up against these rocks. And fascinating, the fact that there's tons of rocks around that area, but that one particular patch of rock are all hexagonal basalt columns.
Isn't there a place like that in Scotland as well? Similar sort of thing.
Not too sure about Scotland.
No.
I'll come on to Scotland in a moment. But Northern Ireland was really good. Went to a place called Portrush, and I'd heard a lot about Portrush. Did Belfast as well. Didn't go on a night out or anything like that, like we heard in the first episode. But we did go to a nice Cuban restaurant. That was lovely. Never been to a Cuban restaurant.
There's one in Manchester, you know. Revolution de Cuba.
Oh, okay. This was a bit more quaint, perhaps. I think Revolution de Cuba's. Is it a chain?
I don't think it is a chain. I don't think it's a chain. I think but it's quite upmarket. Like they won't let you in there with trainers on after 7 o'clock, I believe.
Oh wow! No, that sounds quite fancy. But yeah, this was just a small, like a I want to say a cafe, but it weren't. It was like a bar as well. But it was lovely. But in Portrush, we stayed over for the night, and then in the morning we got in the car. And the battery were flat. Oh dear, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll sort it out. So, go into the boot at car, get the jump leads out, red and black cable, here we are. And I'm walking up the High Street in Portrush. I thought, if I've got my prop on me, if I've got my cables on me, and I look worried, people might want to help, you know what I mean?
It is
see that I'm
after
something. So I went back to the hotel. I said, hey, we stayed here last night. Unfortunately, car won't start. Is anyone able to give us a jump? Anyway. Someone sent for the partner, which were lovely. So this guy, one-way system in Portrush, bloody typical one-way system, one lane of traffic. So he brings his Range Rover and he parks it in the middle of the road. So the way that the car was parked meant that he had to sort of like cut across that one lane of traffic to be able to get to the terminals under the bonnet. Honestly, there were people beeping, there were lorries waiting. Oh my word, it was chaos. Anyway, tried for about 20 minutes. Couldn't get it working. Everything's getting a bit frantic. There's about 18 people looking under the bonnet at the car. Top of the morning. Oh, this is what you need to do. Oh, this, just need to put it on here. Put it on here. Do this, do that.
Everyone's giving the 2 cents in.
Everyone's trying the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone wanted to get it sorted because they could see how stressful it was for her and for us, really, because we wanted to get on with rest at holiday. Anyway, this guy turned up and he had like a Ferrari t-shirt on. I thought, hey, what's going on here? He looked like he should have been working at pit stop at F1.
That's what I pictured when you said that with a Ferrari jacket. I thought it looks like someone to be in the pits.
He said, are you having problems? Started battery. I said, yeah. He said, right, wait there. I'll be back in a minute. Comes out this gizmo. This gizmo. How to start a car in a box. He plugged it in. He said, right, try your engine. Boom. Started straight away. Like, mate, honestly, what a guy. Can we give you anything? He's like, no, don't worry about it. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Don't you worry yourself.
Yeah, it was great, honestly. And it was just lovely that people wanted to help. And that was what inspired us to go and buy the battery pack from Halfords, just in case it happened again. But his was like super big, I think like of a lorry.
Industry standard, isn't it?
Yeah, if that battery had gone down. You know, massive engines. Because it's on litres. It's like, how big is your engine? How much juice you need? Honestly, we're a walking park for him. So yeah, we managed to finally get on with our holiday. And then lastly, I need to mention Scotland because it was my partner's 30th and she loves Scotland. It's her favourite place. So I planned a trip and we went to Edinburgh and we stayed in Glencoe and we also stayed in a castle just outside of Edinburgh as well. An old castle, I can't remember its name, nightmare. But Queen Mary of Scots was captured there, I believe, and we had a meal there. It was very old-fashioned and very posh. But I bought her some balloons. So, you know, the massive helium balloons. I got her 2 pink, I got her a 3 and a 0. Luckily, for some reason, I said, let's bring her into hotel. I wanted her to wake up on her birthday and have the balloons there. Anyway, we took some photos, thank goodness, because as we were transporting the balloons back outside, as we got outside, there was a gentleman and his son who was playing in like the gardens. And then he turned around and he went, you do know that balloon's just gone, don't you? And we looked up and off it went.
Well, you do now.
There it were, the 0 flying through the air, and it left us. So we were glad that we got the pictures, and then actually we released the 3 when we got to Edinburgh. We released the 3, but there was some unreal driving available in Scotland. Them roads in Glencoe, honestly incredible. But
you never seen that like it.
Never seen that like it. But enough of my favourite places in the UK, because that was a big list. I want to ask you about your favourite places.
So I think I may as well start with Scotland, because I've been to Scotland myself. So I mentioned in a previous episode that I've been on a holiday to Kos in Greece. I mentioned that, yeah. Well, the friends that we made over in there were from Scotland, and more the north coast sort of way. I think the closest city to them was Aberdeen, but it was like maybe an hour's drive away. I think it was maybe Macduff. I think they're from. Even then, they might be not being specific because it's quite a remote place that they live in, I believe. Anyway, so the friends that we made over there, they both said one's called Caroline, one's called Emma. They wanted us to, you know, like we wanted like a few like holiday reunions here and there. Sometimes they'd come over to Manchester. Sometimes we'd meet halfway. 3 times I've been to Scotland to meet them, and the first time was in Aberdeen, and it was around about the time that they had the Christmas markets on, which were pretty good. They got a good setup going there. I mean, the city itself of Aberdeen, I wouldn't say it's a particularly. It's not a city that particularly stands out. Like it's at the end of the day, it's a British city. I want to actually, a Scottish city, but at the same time, it is a good city to be in because the culture. Because you're talking like the north of Scotland here, and
the Stone City.
Exactly. So yeah, it was good to experience that, and around Christmas as well, with the Christmas markets going on, and we did various things like drinking alcohol and going to bars and getting merry. We did encounter a little bit of trouble there. I don't want this isn't like a stain on the trip or anything, but did encounter a bit of trouble. So we were going from one bar to the other, and then we get in, and then Caroline sits at the front, me and my mate sit at the back with Emma, and then we're talking, we're having a laugh, and the taxi driver comes out and says, "English, you're near welcome here." And then Caroline, who was sat next to him, just went, "Shut up and take us to where we're going." She dealt with it. She's like, "They're our friends. Shut up." No, yeah. She dealt with it very, very well. Yeah, that was, even if that was like a negative part of the trip, it's like a part of it that was still funny as well because of how it ended.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's a good story to tell.
yeah. So yeah, got to visit various parts in Aberdeen, but nothing too extravagant. I've been to Glasgow and I've been to Edinburgh as well. Glasgow's all right. You know, there's a lot going on. It's very blocky, is Glasgow. It's just block, very structured. And we were with people who knew where they were going, but I can imagine it'd be very, very easy to get lost there because of how similar all the streets look. But similar to the Aberdeen trip, it was more or less just going out on a night out and drinking and getting drunk, really. So that not too much to elaborate on that. I mean, I went to the Five Guys the next day to cure the hangover. You know, that's something. You know, a nice American burger joint. You know,
Nice bit of culture for you.
oh yeah. When in Glasgow, you know,
Go to Five Guys.
I'm pretty certain it was Glasgow we went to, where we went to this place a little bit out of the way. Yeah, I just remember this now. We went to an ice cave. So, like, you know how you have like your chill factor in Manchester? They had one of those, but there was also like a bar made of ice. So you had to book it, and you need to wear like your poncho and stuff. You had to keep your gloves on. You couldn't touch anything. Like if you touched anything, your skin would get, you know, they had to pull your skin off in order to get your hand off again. That's how cold it was in there. Yeah, and then like they serve drinks in there as well, and that was a good experience, to be honest. That were really good. The same day we were in this ice bar as well. After we had our time in the ice bar, we'd had some drinks in there. We moved up to the normal bar. It just happened to be the day that England was playing Scotland in the rugby. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not a rugby fan. Couldn't care less. I don't want England to win. I don't want England to lose. I don't care. It's not a sport I care about. It was something to experience being around Scottish people getting slammed for a sport that they, you know, slammed by the English in a sport that they love. The atmosphere was, I've never witnessed anything like it. And we had to be quiet. Me and my friend had to be quiet because I feel like if we spoke up and they found out where we were from, we may have had some aggression taken out on us. So yeah, it was an experience unto itself. So that's the main part I remember about the Glasgow trip. I've been to Edinburgh as well. I don't need to elaborate too much. You know yourself, don't you? Edinburgh, if I was to sum up Edinburgh in one word, I would use, and this isn't nothing to do with what its connotation to Harry Potter, but it is magical. It has like a magical feel to it, like with the castle there, and so completely different to Glasgow, completely different. There's no structure to the city centre, really. You got your main roads, yeah, of course, but it's the complete opposite in that you could get lost because there isn't any structure to it. The complete opposites. They couldn't be any different, really, you know. And that's the beauty of the two cities. Like you can get two different sides to Scotland with the two main cities of it. Did all the again went Edinburgh around the Christmas time as well. So did all like the Christmas markets, which were great.
Yeah, we went at Christmas time, so it was the Christmas markets and stuff. And obviously they've got Diagon Alley, haven't they? You know,
Yeah.
the cobble street,
Yeah.
inspired Diagon Alley, and there's a few Harry Potter shops on there.
Yeah. Did you get on the wheel? There's a big wheel when I went. It might not have been there when you were there, to be fair, but
no, I don't think it was.
No. Right. Well, we went on a wheel, and that was good to see, like a good overhead view of the city as well at night with the lights on. So. Yeah, that was Scotland really in a nutshell. I'll move on to another part I've been to as well. I've been to Wales. So I used to be quite a while ago. I used to be in a relationship with someone, and she went to Swansea University. So I've been to Swansea a couple of times, and I would advise going to Swansea because it's actually a really, really nice city. There's this like rivalry between Cardiff and Swansea. I'm not talking football. There's actually like a cultural rivalry. Like if you get two people from Wales and one's from Swansea and one's from Cardiff, there's a little bit between them. Like they both think that their city is the better city. And, you know, it's like the personal pride of where I'm from. But I've been to Cardiff, probably not enough to make an assessment on it. But based off what I've seen, I do think Swansea's better. The beach is, and just the layout of the city and the vibe of it, it was really, really good. I'm yet to go to the football ground there. I'd like to go to Swansea Football Club to watch a match. That'd be pretty good. Yeah, so I've been to Swansea a couple of times. Oh yeah, that's something I'm going to say as well. Me girlfriend that I was with at the time, the area of Swansea that she lived in was called Sketty.
Sketty?
Yeah, and there was a club called the Sketty Club.
Wow.
I love that one. Another thing as well, I don't know how familiar you are with quiz shows. Have you seen the quiz show, The Chase?
Yeah, The Chase, yeah.
You know the Beast, Mark Lebet?
Yeah.
You know where he's from?
Sketty.
No, he's not from Sketty, he's from Newport. But we were walking to a cafe from Sketty, which was like more central Swansea. It took like maybe 20 minutes to get there. A man pulls up in a car, gets out, and I was in the middle of conversation with Laura at the time, and he pulls out and I just stopped what I was doing. I just stopped what I was saying, and I was like, "That's him. That's a really, really big man that looks like Mark Lebet from The Chase." And then I'm watching him walking. He walks like Mark Lebet. That's Mark Lebet. He just got out of a car and started walking alongside us. Like that was mental. Like, so yeah, that was just something I remember.
Did you get a picture?
No. At that time, I wasn't as confident, and I think I kind of thought, oh, that man, really intelligent. If I stop him and start talking to him, he's having a bad day, he'll just take the piss out of me. So I just thought, like, nah, just let him get on with his day. Well, we've got what we want to do. He'll probably appreciate being left alone as well, being a celebrity. So I was kind of left it at that.
Did you do an Arsenal? Did you
Sorry,
bottle it? Did you do an Arsenal? Did you bottle it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, milk bottled. Yeah. So weirdly enough, though, the cafe we were going to, now I can't remember the name of the cafe, but it had a plate, like a special plate, and even rang a bell when someone rang it. It was that much of a big deal. And the plate was called The Beast, which is the name of Mark Lebet. And I think that's a coincidence. I don't think it's named after him, because of how big the plate is and the amount of food you get on it, breakfast items you get on it. I do think it's been named The Beast because it is a beast. It's a beastie plate. Me and Laura shared it, by the way. Didn't have one to myself. But yeah, that was good. That was some good memories from going to Swansea. I've been to Wales as well. Me and my friends booked a cottage as well, and we had it was literally in the middle of nowhere, middle of a forest. Couldn't tell you what it was called. Some Welsh Celtic name that I can't pronounce and don't remember even if I could. So yeah, but yeah, lovely cottage in the middle of the forest. Nice little getaway. I think. Oh yeah, that's something I'm going to touch on as well. You were saying before how you like to cram loads of things in a holiday. I do like to do things when I visit places, but I also like the feeling of I got a chance to relax on a holiday as well. I think that's where we're different. Our personality types differ. But I have had holidays where I've crammed loads of stuff in. Tunisia, for example, it was barely a time to relax with that, and I loved it. So I can do that if needs be. So yeah, that's the cottage. After the cottage, we went north to Snowdonia, and there was this zip wire sort of park going on. I didn't participate in it, but it was nice to be around there. It was a nice day, and I weren't the only person that didn't want to get on. There were some friends that didn't want to do as well, so we had a nice chat and watching the other friends going around and shouting and worrying about being high up in the trees and stuff like that. Yeah, so got a bit of experience with London as well. I quite like London. London's one of those places you think about it and you think, oh, stressful, hustle and bustle. Yeah, it is, but you've got to get in there and you've got to embrace it, and you can have a good time. I've even been London with you briefly, haven't I? Went to Wembley to watch England. We mentioned this on a previous one.
We have indeed.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that drive home. I'm sure you won't either.
You know what?
Trying to stay awake. The Michael Jackson hits were out.
You know what, right, man? I still appreciate that drive. That was on your birthday as well, man. You did that. The longest amount of driving you did in a day on your birthday. Honestly, I don't want you to think I took you for granted and drivers down there. I appreciate everything you did that day with quality.
Birthdays, they remind me of Feeder. Do you know why? Because it's just a day.
Okay, yeah. Do. Yeah, okay, yeah. But yeah, you had a good time, didn't you? So that's the main thing. Your missus had a good time as well, which were pretty good. So yeah.
No, it was good. It was good going to London. But go on, you talk about the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, so I like being on the tubes. I've been in the past, and I've had someone to kind of lead me, and then you just kind of follow the lead, and you think, oh, I couldn't handle this stressful moment. I went to London on my own once. Booked a hotel in a place called West Brompton. And it's near Stamford Bridge. It's not far from Fulham as well. I mean, they're all kind of close. Wimbledon Tennis Club isn't far either. Once I just got myself down there, it's right, I've got to ride the tube. It's just the way you got to do it around here. Easy. Piece of piss. Once you get down there and you work out how the system works, it's actually really easy. So yeah, I like the tubes. It's just that when you're on a tube and you're pushed against the door and then the window because it's that crammed, that's when it gets a little bit stressful. But yeah, I've done all the things like visiting the Tower of London and the Tower Bridge, London Bridge, all the sites and things like that. And as I mentioned before, I did do a little bit of a football ground hop as well while I was there. Visited a few sporting grounds. I went to the Queen's Club. Bear in mind, Queen's Club isn't what you think it is. It is just a tennis club that they get the stands out for when the tournament comes round. And also as well, Queen's Club is in an area called Barron's Court. Very fitting. It's very barren. There's not much going on. So yeah, but yeah, I went to Wimbledon, went to the Wimbledon shop while I was there as well. I've actually been to Wimbledon before as well, just actually, go into it. But on this occasion, just wanted to visit the grounds, get in and look at the shop and have a little bit of a look around. Been for a tour as well, but I guess I don't need a tour anymore because I've actually been to the tournament as well. So that's that. I went to Queen's Park Rangers as well. I went to Fulham's ground. I went to Fulham's ground as a neutral as well. It was interesting one that because they were playing Preston, and I was buying a ticket, and I feel like the lady behind the counter, when she heard my accent, she was thinking I was a Preston fan trying to get in with the home fans. And then I give my postcode away, and it's like, all right, okay, it's not a Preston postcode, but it's that dodgy ground, isn't it? But she let me in. I reckon she might have told people to keep an eye out for me on the CCTV, when I was in there. But yeah, when it was the match when what was it? I think Fulham had just been crowned champions of the Championship, and it was like the last home game of the season, and like the fans were going to run onto the pitch. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get back. But when what's he called, Mitrovic, the Fulham striker, he did the whole thing where we did like the hand over his ear with his fingers, like waving it. I did that when he scored. Immersing myself in the Fulham culture. So that was a good ground to get ticked off.
Well, you've mentioned Preston, so I'm going to halt you.
Oh, yeah, go for
because
it.
I'm sure there's loads of places that you've been to in the UK, but Preston is nice because Preston takes us back home.
Yes,
because we've talked about everywhere. I mean, we've had a bit of Reed and we've had a bit of Morecambe along the way, but
little teasers here and there, the northwest, isn't there?
Absolutely, but Preston is the one that's going to take us back home. So I am going to ask you to do a quick burn Carbs. It's that time again. Quick burn Carbs, the northwest. Go.
Northwest consists of a few counties: Cumbria, Lancashire, Yorkshire, Cheshire, Merseyside, Greater Manchester, to name a few. I am in Lancashire myself, so I'm going to focus on that. You've got Blackburn, Accrington, Burnley, Preston, Chorley,
5,
Darwin,
3,
and I'm running out of towns now, so you've got Red Rose.
Honestly, if anyone wants a lesson in a list of northwest towns, then you get it right here on the Salad and Carbs podcast. We are going to head for a break, but before we do, just want to say thank you to all our listeners. Thank you for sticking with us. This is episode 9. We're talking about the UK, and after the break, we're going to be delving a little bit more into the northwest, because that is indeed where we are both from. You're listening to the Salad and Carbs podcast. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. You can also have a sneaky little bit of Moroccan style hummus as well, but that's top secret. Before the break, we were talking about a few of my anecdotes from trips and places I've seen in the UK, particularly with my partner, and a few in Ireland as well. And then Carbs was taking us through a few of the places that he's seen in the UK. Things getting on top in Scotland, unfriendly taxi drivers not wanting him to be a part of the country. Then we had being in Glasgow when the rugby's on and England are beating Scotland at rugby, so we best keep our mouth shut. And then we ended up on a bit of a tour of the sporting venues of London, and that kindly led us into a Fulham game versus Preston that Carbs nearly didn't get into because of his accent. You don't really sound like you're from Preston, but to a Londoner, you probably do.
We'll all sound the same to them, won't we?
Absolutely. And then we had a little bit of a quick burn Carbs on the Northwest, because for this last part, we should talk about the Northwest. It's where we're from. And your quick burn Carbs, I was hoping for a little bit more like, Fred Dibner or the weaving industry or the mills, perhaps.
The cotton mills, yeah.
But instead, it was almost like I'd gone to the back of an A to Z and I were looking at Lancashire, and we had a whistle-stop tour of all the towns. So what are your favourite places in Lancashire?
Lancashire, we can't really... if we're talking like the traditional Lancashire, I would include Manchester in there, but Manchester is its own county now as well, so you can't. So that's kind of like, that's the frustrating part of that. Favourite parts of Lancashire? Blackpool's got to be up there. As much of a, as a rough place it is, you do have a good time there. There's just good memories there, isn't there, in Blackpool?
It's the Vegas of the North.
Yeah. I visited Chorley recently, and for the first time, and I was surprised at how good it was there. Like, I really liked it in Chorley. Only doing the going drinking and stuff. But I didn't realise how much stuff it had for a town that doesn't really get mentioned too much, for me personally. And I think there's a little bit of like an untapped potential there, because you go into all the pubs and the bars and they're all crammed, they're all busy. And it's like, this place has a nightlife. Like, pub culture isn't dying in this town. As opposed to a town that's a bit closer to me in Blackburn, pub culture's dying. So it's good to know that at least there's somewhere you can go with what, start again. It's good to know that there's somewhere you can go and it'll be busy and there's a culture about it, like if you want that. So yeah, Preston's a good mention though. I do like going to Preston. There's always some good places to eat in Preston restaurants. I love a good Turtle Bay. I mentioned that before. I love a good Turtle Bay, and the Preston one is one of my favourite Turtle Bay venues. I do enjoy it. Is there any places in particular you can mention for your favourite in the Northwest?
Well, I'm going to mention Accrington because that's where
Your
I'm
hometown.
from. Yeah, absolutely. There's a bit of a charm about Accrington. And back in the day, Accrington would have been a bit of a hub, particularly when we think about that textile industry. A lot of the mills were here, and in other places as well, like Blackburn and Darwin, and a little bit further afield, Helmshire. But Accrington is, Accrington in the modern day is a town that probably fights for, whatever money's left that's not been spent on places like Blackburn and Burnley,
Yeah, definitely.
from a funding point of view. But Accrington is still one of the main train stations on the line between Blackpool and York. And, that is cool within itself because that means that there's a certain amount of traffic that's going through Accrington on a daily basis. We've got the viaduct here and we've got Accrington Stanley. Who are they?
Exactly.
The famous football club that never died but did die and then came back. But anyway, and everyone's been on the Stanley. Accrington Library, built by Carnegie. We've got Haworth Art Gallery, Oak Hill Park, the Coppice. There's some really, really nice scenic parts of Accrington. And in the Northwest in general, like in one of the other episodes, I was talking about, I've gone out on a drive and me and my partner had ended up going through the Trough of Bowland. And then we ended up in Cornwall, which is just sort of outside Lancaster. And then you could see the bay. Then you're looking at places like Morecambe and Heysham. And, just the fact that, you're on top of the hills. We've got Pendle Hill.
Some lovely views, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that when you're getting towards Pendle Hill, you are strafing parts of Yorkshire.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're getting towards Yorkshire territory.
The other side of the Pennines.
Yeah, the other side of the Pennines. But I feel that a lot of, there's some real local gems to where we are. But you mentioned Blackpool. I love Blackpool, me. I think it's class.
Yeah, there is a town that I forgot to mention that I love to bits. Clitheroe. Love Clitheroe. Yeah, nice little quaint town. You got your Clitheroe Castle. You've even got some non-league football if you want. You know how much of a sporting man I am. I've been to Clitheroe once and I loved it. So if I want the non-league experience, pop down to Clitheroe, watch a game there. You can get a beer, stand by the side, with your beer, and you can walk all the way around the ground. There's no segregation, just, enjoy it. But yeah, there's some really nice restaurants. There's clothing shops. There's nice coffee shops as well. You've got the Edisford Bridge as well. You can sit by, the river, and it's nice views. It's great. If you've got a family, you can take your children there. And, there's all sorts of stuff going on, isn't there? I was about to say Ramsbottom, but that's Greater Manchester again, isn't it? It's another town that's taken off us. Because I was going to mention the steam train.
Oh, okay, East Lancashire Railway.
On it in Rottenstall though as well, so that is Lancashire.
Oh, okay, so it takes you out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ramsbottom is in the metropolitan
borough
Ramsbottom
of Bury, yeah,
which is Greater Manchester. So yeah, we've lost that one. But yeah, the railway is cool if you're into steam trains and things like that.
It's nostalgic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Clitheroe. I used to work in Clitheroe. I used to actually work at Sainsbury's in Clitheroe. So I spent a good couple of years in my late teens, early 20s over in Clitheroe. And, I was part of a pool team for one of the pubs. And, I've been out drinking in Clitheroe. And I was actually there at the weekend with my partner. She's gone back to Ireland now, but I've been saying that I'd take her to Booths, the supermarket.
Yeah, it's good. It's good there, though, isn't it? She'll like it there.
She did. She loved it. She was a bit overwhelmed. She just couldn't believe that there were so much different things on sale. We got a bag of fresh chocolate. Now, this is chocolate that I believe is made with cream. So it's actually in the fresh section in the fridge and you have to keep it refrigerated. So it's not gone hard as such. It's fresh. And they were little truffles, I tell you what. They were good. They were pricey, but they were worth it.
Oh, you pay out your ass in that place, but you get quality, don't you?
They were 10 in a bag, so you're talking 40p each. It was £4 for a bag. But They were delicious. And then we went to the YMCA charity shop, which is quite a big charity shop. Because we like to find a bargain and we like to see what's out there. And we've been looking for Roald Dahl books. So my partner and me, what we do, and we've not been doing it recently, but before we go to bed, we'll it's either my turn or her turn, but we'll read each other a book. So we'll read a few chapters, then go to bed. And at the minute, we're reading a South Korean book, but she's been reading me Roald Dahl books because I've never read them. I read the Twits at school, but I've not gone through I've not done the full collection. So we actually found a box set and it was on Amazon. I think it was like 25 quid. Anyway, YMCA gift charity shop, £5 for full box set.
Nice.
Complete, all the books, boom. Done and dusted. It were in the basket. She got herself a nice cardigan as well. So yeah, and when I first met her, that was one of the first places that I took her to as we made our way from Manchester to Harrogate. A quick stop off at Clitheroe to show the castle. Because I know she's really, really into seeing places. She's really well travelled herself. She's done Japan. She's done a lot of Europe. She travels a lot for work as well. And, she gets really into it and she likes reading signs and learning about places. So, yeah, and she loves a bit of Clitheroe as well. So, yeah, that's a really good shout, is Clitheroe. What about best places to eat or drink? What would your top 3 be?
Oof, I'm not prepared for this one. Fucking hell. Fuck. Right, me personally, there's an Indian restaurant that I really, really love in Accrington called the Matali. And you could say, oh, well, it's your local Indian. Honestly, I've had people come there from like Manchester, for example, and they say like, yeah, this is better than any of the Indian restaurants on Curry Mile. Like they like it there. So that's in my top 3, definitely for sure. I like, as you know, I like my Caribbean food, but I don't really want to say Turtle Bay because you can get that anywhere.
No Turtle Bays allowed.
Yeah. So I think there was one place that I really liked in can I say Manchester? Are we talking like no? Okay. Well,
Northwest. This Lancashire. La la la.
Yeah.
That's all you're allowed.
This is what's annoying about it because there's a lot of places in Manchester, and Manchester's been taken from us, hasn't it?
It is what it is.
Yeah. No, honestly, I'm struggling to think. I'm struggling to think at some restaurants at the moment. Do you want to name any? I don't know if you might be able to prompt any in my head if you name some.
I'm going to say Crazy Pancho's number 1 because it's authentic Mexican food and it is the type of place that you would expect in a place like Manchester, but it's actually in Clayton Le Moors, which is, shocking. A little bit of a juxtaposition. It's just something you would not expect. So Crazy Pancho's for me. Second is a place called Banny's. Banny's is in Burnley. There's 2 locations. One's in Corn, and that's like a restaurant.
I've been to the one in Corn.
That you can go and sit inside. Yeah. And then there's the drive-through one in Burnley, but they do banging fish and chips. So they are a standout 2 for me. Third one, maybe, you're probably going to be talking, like if you want to do a showstopper, it'd be something like the Inn at Whitewell, in Whitewell, which is in the Trough of Bowland, but you're getting into like royal territory there, you know what I mean? Like the County Palatine and all that sort of stuff, but it's very, very posh, I used to film weddings when I was at college and filmed a couple of weddings at Whitewell. It is a lovely, lovely place. You know what I mean? There's always a Bentley in Car Park. In fact, we drove past it when we went to Cornwall Tower, and there was a helicopter just outside on the grass. It's like, someone's decided to take the old helicopter out for it was either for doing some tours with, or someone's gone for the tea and just decided to take the old chopper, as you do.
Yeah, so you've given me a little of inspiration there. You're reminding me of a few places. So there is a place in Blackburn, which is a Caribbean place, which I don't actually go there too much, but now the Turtle Bay in Blackburn is shut, it is another option, but it's really good as well, so I should go there more anyway. It's called Calypso, and that's by the canal as you're entering into Blackburn Town Centre. You probably know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Potentially, yeah.
It's by the canal, like as you're entering from like the Training 2000.
Okay, yeah. I know where you are now.
Yeah, so there's that place. They do like really good jerk chicken, curry goat, and got all your Caribbean cocktails as well. And you inspired me as well, like with the whole chippy thing as well, like with Bannies. I do love a good chippy, and one of the best ones, is near where I live, a place called Perfect Place. Love the chippy from there. I get like the chippy, chips, gravy, and you got the sausage as well. I don't get fish. You know this already. I struggle with fish, don't I? So I always get the sausage. So if I were to name like right now, I'd say those 3 are my top 3 that I enjoyed, the restaurants I enjoyed the most at this moment in time. But that can change. I can be easily swayed.
Yeah, unless it's Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
But
well,
yes,
that's a different story.
sounds like you get your sounds like you get your chippy tea from Perfect Place, which is. I thought you were going to say that when you mentioned fish and chips. I thought it's not going to be far away, and there is one literally across the road.
Just happens to be across the road, doesn't it? Really,
it is.
Yeah.
I've had Perfect Place, and it is really, really good. So there you go. That is Salad and Carbs' top 3 places to eat in the Northwest. We managed to eradicate Turtle Bay and Manchester from that list. So yeah, if you're knocking about these old mill towns, they are the places to go. And that brings us to the end of the episode. So you have been listening to the Salad and Carbs podcast, but before we go, Carbs is waving his pen and his pad at me because it's time for the salad dressing.
Yep. So your salad dressing is what? Give me your salad dressing on the British summertime.
The National Lottery.
The National Lottery.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're going to get, do you? You turn up, you give it lucky dip, you might get 30 degrees. You might get 3 days of great weather, or it could be pissing it down for 4 weeks solid. That constant grey blanket that lives over Lancashire. So yeah, it's the National Lottery.
I'll let you have that. At first I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, now you've elaborated. Okay, I'll let you have that one. Yeah.
The National Lottery. So yes, you have been listening to the Salad and Carbs podcast. It is the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. This has been episode 9, and in the next episode, what we're going to go back and look at are some of the highlights from these 9 episodes, and we're also going to maybe look at any unfinished business. So anything that we may have forgotten to mention that we feel we need to make you aware of before we wrap up the season. Do you have anything to add, Carbs?
No, I'm all good with that. Thanks for getting me on here, and I've had a good time.
No problem. This is the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Sayonara.
Bislemma.